can't tell if we're live because the thing is circling. There we go. Hello, welcome, welcome. It is Friday and this is Samurai 5-0. I'm 𝐲𝐿𝐼, the Director of Marketing here at Style Labs headquarters, and I'm really excited to bring you this next guest. I'm excited for all our guests, but this is going to be really special. I'm here with 𝐩𝐫𝐞, and I have a long, long list of accolades to introduce him, so let me get through of that because there's a lot to cover. And I will say we normally are around 20 minutes to half an hour, but I have a feeling we're going to be 3 or 4 hours. Just kidding. So DJ Rocswell, this is DJ Rocswell, 𝐩𝐫𝐞, and he has been a professional DJ for well over 2 decades. You don't look old enough to have been a DJ for over 2 decades, just saying. So he has been the official DJ for Kokanee Snowdream, for many, many retro parties for the last 12 years, and really high-profile events like CFL Grey Cup events, and one I particularly remember, which was the NHL Heritage Classic, which was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
that was an absolute blast. I do remember that. So DJ Rocswell is a concert and party promoter, doing his own events like Beats and Brunch. He's been doing that for many, many years, and also Throwback Records with his Toronto agency.
Yes.
We're going way back here too, because that was a long, long time ago, out of Toronto, and sold out, you know, concerts, and most recently things like 𝐷𝐸𝐿𝐼 and Ghostface prior to COVID.
Yes.
DJ Rocswell is a music producer and likes to create music. It's his passion. We're going to talk all about that. And he is getting ready to independently release his very first instrumental album. Yay! I can't wait. I cannot wait. So there's also, you also have another company called Rocswell Radio.
Yes.
So there, and it's all, you know, Rocswell's everywhere because that's your passion and it's music, and all of your things are called Rocswell. So we're going to talk about Rocswell music. We're going to talk about something else that you mentioned to me just a few minutes ago at the very end. So stay tuned because we have a lot of great stuff to cover. So DJ Rocswell is primarily, I'm going to say, we've been talking for about half an hour in my office before we came here, and I just see entrepreneur all over everything you touch. So yes, you're all of those things that we just mentioned, but you're absolute entrepreneur at heart, which we just love here. We are so supportive of entrepreneurs. We're a bunch of entrepreneurs here, and we know what it takes to keep powering through and to stay in that entrepreneurial mindset. So I have pages, you guys. I have pages in front of me of all the stuff we're going to cover because we're jumping all over the map here. So you have essentially been incorporating music into, weaving it into everything you do.
Yes.
So you've done many events. You've done you know, parties and events like we mentioned, corporate events, any type of festivity that requires some energy and some music.
Energy, yes.
Right? So tell me about, let's start at the beginning, 𝐩𝐫𝐞. Tell me about how you started.
Well, how I became a DJ, I used to go to my dad's record collection and take his, pretty much steal his record. Well, try to borrow his record. And I got in trouble. And then he decided to just kind of get me my own.
Get you your own. Stop taking my taking my stuff.
Yeah, especially back in the days, and it's the late 70s and 80s. It was all vinyls, and vinyl were expensive those days too, as well.
Right, and they were treasures to him, I would imagine.
100%.
So, how old would you have been when this borrowing of your dad's records started?
I was around 9, 8, 10, yeah, around there, yeah.
So this is when your love of music began.
Yes.
And so, take me through your 9. You're borrowing your dad's records, and so you're, you know, as you become more independent, and he gave you your own set of records. How did that evolve into essentially what we see today?
Well, it's so funny because I started getting my own music, but I had to work hard to get to my records. So to buy one record probably took me a month to save some money to buy a record. But it's when I started going to see other DJs playing and park parties and events. That's when I really got the buzz.
Okay.
I want to become a DJ.
I want to become a DJ. And so is that something that when you were that young, you knew that's what you wanted to become? Is that something that you could see a path to?
At the time, it was just a passion. I just wanted to do it. It was just the love for it. And then I got older, and it became like turn this to a business.
Yeah,
so,
interesting. So we're going to get back to that because it's certainly important to understand a passion like that takes you over 2 decades. And we're talking more than that now because you were 9.
Yes.
Right, so to
Yes.
where you are now. So we're going to come back to that.
Okay.
But let's talk about some of your other entrepreneurial endeavors, because when we talked earlier, I was a little surprised to learn some of these things. So tell me about how your first, not your first job, but one of your jobs, which was long, 14-year career with Air Canada.
Yes, I was a flight attendant. And then while I was a flight attendant, I was still DJing doing events. But it was a great job to give me the chance to expand my business because I got to travel, see the world, and meet other DJs and other producers around the world. So it was definitely a great network to build for my business. And it was a short term. I didn't want to do it forever to be a flight attendant. My goal was to become a full-time DJ. So it was a great tool to get me to the next level.
A great tool. So with that passion and that vision still in mind at the end, this was how you weaved that in.
Yes.
So tell me about working at Air Canada, because I understand you became you did a flight attendant, which would be any class in the cabin, but you primarily focused on business class.
Business class. I used to always try to get the business class, and the reason why is there were so many entrepreneurs in business class and successful business people traveling. And then once you've done the dinner service, and it's more like the wind down. I used to ask questions.
So smart.
What's the passion? How do you get there? So it was a great tool to learn a lot of knowledge from people who are actually doing entrepreneur life, traveling the world, and doing business, and closing deals.
Yeah, these are the people you want to seek that information from and that advice and get. You're almost sort of putting yourself in a position to have all these different mentors while you're working.
Exactly. And what is the chance to, let's say Calgary to London, it's 42 seats in business class. You have 42 people you can ask questions to. So out of 42, it's at least 2 or 3 is willing to talk. So it's pretty exciting.
And you mentioned when we were talking earlier that other flight attendants didn't want to take the business class section.
Yeah, some of them rather work in economy. So,
interesting.
Yeah, it's a little bit more work in the front, I would think.
Yeah.
But I always enjoy it because the bonus was just to ask questions and talk to
and to learn from those that have maybe gone before you.
Yes.
So there's again those entrepreneurial wheels turning in while you're working as a flight attendant, really with the goal of music. All the time your sights set on music. So I bet you've got some real interesting stories, having been a flight attendant for 14 years, especially on those overseas flights and whatnot. So really fascinating. I did not know that about you. So I also understand that you were one of the top employees with Air Canada.
Yes, I mean, well, you did your
homework.
Yes, it was pretty cool to get letters from people from business class and compliment about your service and how well you did your job. So that was definitely inspiring.
Yeah, nice to be recognized.
100%.
Which wasn't your intent, because you just were curious, and it showed, and they appreciate it, because everybody loves to talk, to tell their story, to maybe talk about their day or what have you. So interesting that you had that approach. So tell me about where you were born and where you grew up. What brought you to Calgary?
I was born in Montreal, Quebec.
Montreal, I love Montreal.
It's French, great city. Great city. If you have a band, you need to go, especially in the summertime.
Yes.
Yeah, raised in Montreal, and my parents were from Haiti. They immigrated to New York, then to Montreal, and I was born in Montreal.
Okay.
And in the city, Montreal is well known for entertainment, nightlife, music. So it's where I grew up. So it's a big influence in my life.
Yes, for sure. I wonder if we ever saw each other when I was there. I used to go there a fair bit. What's the big avenue, the big street?
The St. Catherine and the St. Laurent.
St. Laurent, that's the one.
Yeah,
I spent lots of time there.
Yes, that's a big
such a nice scene in the summer. So then you ended up coming to Calgary with your family, or was that
by myself?
Okay.
Yes, I actually, after that, I got a scholarship to Missouri to play football. And that's
oh my goodness.
Yes.
So
that's a whole story.
That's a whole other story.
Yes.
Okay, so let's back up to that story, because you're now going to University of Missouri. Having how many scholarships at your disposal?
I had a scholarship in football, basketball, and track and field, but I took football. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Superstar. Superstar.
Yes.
So football was your choice at the time.
Yes.
So did you have aspirations to play professional football?
No, it was just, I was going along for the ride. I love playing football, and I got a free education out of it. And
Wow.
That was the main.
Wow.
The main goal.
I guess, grab onto that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and where I really got to start doing big parties in Missouri, in the U.S., we used to do event. It wasn't really legal, but we used to do event on when we didn't have any game, and I had so many big football players on my team, so I used to hire them as my security.
Oh,
so we used
awesome.
to charge $5.
There you go. See,
yes,
entrepreneur.
Until the security came and shut it down. But it was no booze because we're not allowed.
Right.
Yeah, in the U.S. So, but it
was music.
Yeah, it was music.
It was always
Yeah.
music, and
Yes.
Here that is again. Here's that thread again. The music
Yes.
and the entrepreneurial spirit in you. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
bet you those were some
Great
really
memories.
fun.
It was fun. It was
Really
lots of
fun days.
Yeah.
So how long were you at university and playing football?
5 years. Yeah, 5 years.
5 years,
Yes, about
okay.
5 years. Yes.
Okay, interesting. Did not know that before we met today either. So, learning all kinds of things. So then you 5 years there, and then what? Then where did you find
And then
yourself?
I ended up in Calgary.
Okay.
Yeah, so I came. to
Why Calgary?
Calgary. Well, there was when I before going to Missouri, we did at a high school while I was getting recruited. We did what's it called again? The high school, all the best football players. It was Quebec, Ontario, BC, and the final was in Calgary, and that's the first time I got a taste of Calgary. Yes, and I had my mom's sister live in Calgary, so that was one of the reasons I wanted to.
Okay, so a bit of a connection. You came, had a good experience when you were here, and you thought, this is the next stop for.
Yes, and I got drafted in CFL on a supplemental draft, and that was the reason why. But I never really went along with it. It wasn't my passion. Music was my passion, so I stick with music.
But it's important though and interesting to recognize. You used the word earlier. It's a tool. So this seemed like this was another tool.
Yes,
another tool in your tool belt to get to that ultimate goal, and keep on pursuing your music. So. I quickly mentioned in the very beginning that you're going to release your first album. I don't want to miss that because I want to come back to that because we have so many things to cover. I'm probably going to jump back and forth as I remember things. So tell me about your instrumental album and how this came to be.
I think so, about a year ago, I decided I wanted to do an instrumental album, 12 to 20 songs. And the reason why is because there's so much music out there, especially with, doesn't matter if it's rock and roll, country, or hip hop, and it's this word. And I'm like, why don't I should do a soul / hip hop instrumental album, and just to be inspired as a producer, and especially get nominated for Juno. That's the plan, God willing.
That's the ultimate goal.
Yes, and then to fast forward, when COVID happened, that was one of the number 1, number 2 streaming music.
Oh wow, interesting.
I think it was country and instrumental. Especially we were going through a tough time.
And you had already started your.
Yeah, I already started. So I'm like, this was meant to be.
Yeah.
So.
Right on trend. And we talked a little bit about that before too, and I'm right there with you. That is what I've been listening to. I find, music so healing in so many ways. I know for me personally has gotten me through many, many times in my life. And it will still connect me when you hear those songs and that feeling and that emotion that's tied to the music.
100%.
It can bring you back in a good way.
Good way. Memories,
right?
And it's amazing how there's always a song that will take you back to a moment. So
always, to a moment, to a person, to an experience.
100%.
All of that stuff. So this is I'm looking so forward to hearing your first.
I'm excited. I can't wait as well to release it, to give it to the world. So it's exciting.
Good for you. I mean, just chasing your dreams and staying with that passion. So you have done some really extraordinary things in your career, really extraordinary. And you've told us about how you got started, and it was kind of borrowing or stealing your dad's records. And that's something that a lot of people can probably relate to early on. But we're talking decades later now.
100%.
So what challenges have you had to overcome during this time? How have you overcome them? And is there anything you would do better, different?
I wouldn't change anything, because I think that was a process to get me where I was at, where I'm at right now, excuse me. I would say the challenge, I will never forget when I finished school. I was in Calgary, and I met this couple, Tom Lucy, Laura Lucy. They live in the U.S. now, and they actually helped me to create my business plan, even though I had a business degree. It was challenging.
Yeah.
And they're the one who actually invested in my company.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
To get it going. So that was to me the biggest challenge in how do you start a company. That was scary.
Yeah.
Like that, you know.
You didn't let it stop you though.
No, it didn't.
You sought out what you needed to to make that happen, to achieve that. And that does bring me to another question. Mentorship.
Yes.
So the people you just mentioned,
yes,
you
definitely.
would consider mentors. I imagine you've had many.
Yes, I would say the Lebakis family, George, Alex, Joanna, the family. I would say there's so many. Mentorship would be my coach too as well. Football coach, sure. Anybody would impact my life in a positive way, and how to push my idea, my entrepreneur, or my vision to reality, or support mentally and physically, and just make sure that you stay focused and healthy. So there's so many. I can't
so many people.
So many, yes.
Yeah. So many people to have in your corner
100%.
And helping support you and lift you up. And I'm sure that that's important to you, just getting a feel for the type of person you are, that's important to you to give back as well.
Yes.
We're going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later on. So let's talk about failure. Is failure important? Have you had failure?
Yes.
Is it important? How important is it?
It's so important. I have more than one failure. It's important because it teaches you. It teaches you to become more humble, caring, and then you understand. Sometimes when you have a plan, it doesn't always work out. And I learned that too. Once you hit the rock bottom, you can't go any lower than that. So all you can do is go up.
All you can
so
do is
you
go
learn from it, and then I think it's the key to success. Anybody who becomes successful has a story.
Everybody has had it.
And that's what I've learned. I mean, I'm not the only one who's going through it.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah, nothing to be shy away from in a way. It can set you up for ultimate success when you have failed in such a way. Not sure if we're still live or not. It's we're getting an error message. Can someone in the office let me know if you can still hear us and see us? I'll keep talking. We're having technical difficulties today. We came on a few minutes late because we couldn't get our platform set up. Yes. So we'll just wait for someone here in the office to give us a thumbs up whether or not you can still hear us, or if we need to stop and start again. I sure hope not, because we're having such a good chat. Good to go. Okay, good. So we can't see ourselves anymore, but you can see us, and that's what's important. So when we talked earlier, you used this term, and I love this term, and it is superpower.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So explain your interpretation of a superpower.
Superpower to me is, as a human being, anybody, I think by saying superpower is whatever we want to do, we all have strength. And I think our strength, whatever you're strong at, it could be numbers, it could be anything. I call those superpowers. And to me, the reason why I say that, it sounds weird, but it's a way to kind of keep the humor and any struggle that we go through life, and at the same time, it is superpower. We can adapt to anything, we can do anything, and it keeps me, for me, it keeps me motivated. And yes, you can be serious, but at the same time, you can still have fun. So
yeah, it's true, Jimmy, because many people don't think they have that superpower. Yes. I really believe everybody has a superpower,
100%.
No matter what it is. You know, right now I feel like the superheroes in our life are, teachers.
100%, yes. Yes.
The care workers, the people that are constantly giving back and helping and getting us through all this time.
Especially when we're at home. We were at home staying safe, and they were out there.
That's right.
Yes, I agree with you 100%.
Yes, those are superpowers. Those are superhumans.
Superpowers. Shout out to you guys.
Shout out for sure, especially everyone going back to school now, and the challenges around that.
100%.
The teachers, honestly, I salute you. So there's one of the mentors that you mentioned when we were talking earlier, and I'm going to come back to that because it was a woman.
Yes.
So it's someone that you came across. You went to an event. Tell me about her. It's 𝐲𝐫𝐞.
Yeah, I went to a seminar in San Diego in October 2019, and influencing. It's a seminar about networking and social media and entrepreneur. And then she actually created this cosmetic company and sold it to L'Oreal for billions. But what's amazing is her story. married, kids, and it wasn't easy. It's to make a long story short, it's just a drive and never giving up. And it's just good to see that, yes, this man was very successful, but a lot of women too are entrepreneur and are amazing what they do. And to me, that was a big
an eye opener.
And positive. And now I follow her. I'm a big fan. So if you see this, Jen, hello.
Yeah. Well, let's tag her, and then she'll know that you gave her a shout out, because the way you described your experience at that event to me earlier was, I could just see how you lit up, and that meant a lot to you, and you learned a lot.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool, the people we get to run into, and here you are again, going and putting yourself in the seat at that event, right?
Yes.
Going to those types of events. I go to lots of those.
I didn't know who she was either.
Yeah.
Until then, it's like, wow, and it just
blew you away.
Yes.
Yeah. So what challenges do you see? And I know that you had particularly, some people had some challenges when COVID hit, some people were completely devastated. So let's talk about when COVID hit. How were you challenged? What happened with you?
Like I said earlier, I went from 0 to 100 to 0.
You were at 100 and you went to 0 overnight.
Yes. So no more DJ shows, no more event, no more studio. There was nothing.
Nothing. Crickets.
Yeah. So I had to go back to the drawing board and adapt. And so every Saturday during lockdown, I went to my business partner's home, and we sat down and said, "What's next?
What can we do here?" Yeah.
So we came up with this concept about building our own app, so I can sell my instrumental, my music to other artists. So that's one plan, but you have to keep adapting. So right now, it's just I'm keeping busy with recording certain artists, mixing and mastering, and doing some mix and mastering for other companies for like commercial remix, all that stuff.
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
It's a blessing. It's not. It's just enough to keep me going, but it's a challenge. But I mean, this is the life of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
It's up and down. So we're still learning and we're still trying to figure it out right now. So,
that's right. Pivot, dodge, jump,
yes, exactly,
move.
Exactly. But you know what? It's scary, but at the same time, it's fun. You know, it's just that passion and believing in yourself, and that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. So the app you're developing, Jimmy, is there anything like it that exists? So it's an app where you're going to put your music.
Yes.
And is this something that exists already where people could?
Well, no, I don't think there's any app, because my business partner, he's the one who actually building the app. But I think there's a lot of websites who actually sell music.
Yes.
So producers put the music on the website and sell it. But to me, I want to own my domain. I want to own my platform. So
why wouldn't you? Yeah.
Why would you want to give something and lose a certain percentage into it? But that's me. So, and I want to keep
a big percentage too.
Percentage too as well.
Yeah.
And I want to keep it exclusive too, so I can pick who I want to sell to.
Okay, so that was my next question. So you will then invite other artists onto your platform.
Artists that I want to work with, who I think have amazing talent.
Yeah.
And
help them, showcase them.
And they can bid for it.
Okay, I see. I get it. Cool. Okay, so here you go again, figuring out something that probably wasn't on the radar before, came out of a necessity. What are we going to do? How are we going to reiterate? How are we going to get through this? What else can we do? So when can we expect to see more information on
5 to 6 months.
Okay. Yeah, those take a while to develop. We know that here. So good for you. Good for you. Everything digital makes sense right now, right? So
I agree, 100%.
Taking
That's
that.
the future right now.
Yes. Taking that whole thing online for yourself and for more people to benefit from is wonderful.
Yes.
So with that spirit of helping people, is that something that's important to you, to help the next generation?
100%. I truly believe that one of my mentors always tell me the best feeling in the world is to give back. And I didn't understand that right away. You know, you should just give back and give.
What does that mean?
What about me? Me. Yeah. But then you realize, it's just I always believe in whatever you believe in. But I always believe we're in this planet for a reason, and there's always someone who needs help.
Yeah,
I needed help to get going. So it's
and you got it.
Exactly. So giving back.
Giving back. Yeah, me too. You know, I do believe when you get, give. And so in the beginning, when you're in the process of learning and trying to become successful, we do sort of not quite understand what give back means. But now you're in a position to really understand what that means and to put it into action. And it feels good.
It feels good, and I call our world, it's like a big network. That's where I see it. So helping back or networking, it just So you talked earlier when we were saying about aspiring students or grads, and what advice would you give to those people or aspiring entrepreneurs that maybe don't even know they're an entrepreneur yet? We were talking about that earlier. Yes, I would say this too for the student is yes, when you go to school, finish your degree, it's a tool, and learn from it. And it doesn't mean that just because you have a degree in this doesn't mean you have to go in that field. It's a tool. It's amazing because you actually finished something, you learned it, you did well, and now you're ready to go into the big world. But you're always learning. But the biggest key to me would be, number 2 would be great. I would say be great. And it's so simple. If you really understand the word be great, is whatever you want to do, you have the passion for it, just be great at it. Be great. And I think that takes you a long way.
It does. And having the confidence to know that you want to be great in X that you choose, and when you get there, do you feel like I'm great?
100%.
People sort of can't wrap their heads around that. So for you, you could have been, and perhaps you were, great at football, right? You could have stayed with Air Canada all this time because you were obviously great at it. You had been acknowledged for it and awarded for it. But at the root of all of these things and all of these tools along the way is music.
Yes, it's all tied back to music, 100%.
It's all tied back to music.
But it goes back again by being great. It's just whatever you do is always going to take you to the next level. So it's like life. I call life like practice. So if you always give 100%, once you go into something, you're already trained for it.
Yeah, you're ready.
You're ready for it.
You're already ready. You're ready to perform now. I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
So we would love to share more information about everything you have going on. So tell me about the Rocswell Show.
Rocswell Show is a show that we have on YouTube and IGTV. Rocswell on YouTube and on Rocswell Radio on IGTV. It's about me showing behind the scene in my recording studio, working with artists, or music video, or me going to other businesses and talking to other entrepreneurs and about their business and what they've done.
So you could come here one day and come behind the scenes here and
I would love to do that. Yes.
We'll do that.
Yes.
So that's cool. People love to get those behind the scenes, especially in entertainment and music, where that's not something that the curtain is often lifted on. So
yeah, we're trying to give them access to things that they don't usually get to see. So it's pretty cool. So it's a blessing to have access to as well.
And this is on YouTube.
Yes.
Right.
YouTube.
So we will, after this live or during this live, we will put all of these links below to where we can find you and follow you and catch up with you. So where should people best find you?
Well, you can go to www.djrocswell.com or rocswellradio.com or rocswell.com.
Or just Google Rocswell and
That's
we'll probably
it.
find
And
you.
you'll
And
find me.
Rocswell is R-O-C.
Yeah, ROCSWELL. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
You bet.
Even though I think if we spelled it wrong, we'd still find you.
I think so.
So I think I covered a lot of what we wanted to talk about. One thing I wanted to circle back at, which I said I would, was the ultimate goal for you is a Juno.
Yes.
Or one of your goals.
One
is
of my
a
goals,
Juno.
100%. And I'm like, it's so funny to get gold. I think gold or platinum in Canada is 100,000 stream or 100,000 already sold. So I think to me,
you're right. Yeah.
It's reachable. So that's why I want to focus my energy. I don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully next year, maybe the year after. But it's one of my goals definitely to excel my music business as a music producer as well.
As a music producer as well. So let's do what we can to help support you and make sure you follow and follow along with DJ Rocswell's journey, because I would love nothing more for you to achieve that and walk away with that Juno.
And I will follow back too. I'm one of those guys. I do follow back.
He does. I will attest. He does follow back. So we're going to wrap it up. It has been an absolute pleasure getting to know you a little bit more. We first met, I was going to say it at the beginning and I forgot, but we first met, it's going to be 14 years ago.
Yes. Me and my brother were DJing at 1410 House. Yes, that's unbelievable.
This is the best times. And we came there for you. We
Yes.
came there to see you and your brother.
Thank you. That's wow.
I have followed along with your musical journey all this time, and you, like I said earlier, you bring so much joy through your music.
That's so amazing.
So much healing power. I feel like you're one of the superheroes that we all need.
Thank
So thank you so much for joining
I
us.
appreciate you. Thank you so much. This was amazing.
You're very welcome, and we look forward to having you back on your show, Behind the Scenes, here at Style Labs.
Good to be.
And we'll see you next time, next Friday on Samurai 5-0. Have a great weekend, everybody.